Hello and welcome everybody to another puzzle challenge video with ChessUniversity.com. This is Ryan Murphy, and today we're on our second intermediate puzzle of the week, where it's white to play and win from this position. This comes from the game Su against Zhang on chess.com. And before I take the dive back to the start of the game to see how we got to this position, I do want to quickly review the answer to yesterday's puzzle before we commence with this game. So yesterday we left off at this position, and it was white to play and win. If you haven't already seen that and tried to solve it, you can pause the video and try to do so now. White is already up one pawn in this position, and with this tactic they win a second pawn, which is decisive, and it is based on the tactic of the weak back rank, exposing the weak back rank. So this rook on c8 defends the back rank from any queen checks, but it also defends the pawn. So if you play rook takes c3, the rook is sort of overworked. It cannot take the rook back because of the checkmate that would follow on the back rank, like this. So that's the answer to yesterday's puzzle. And yeah, now we can move back into our position for today. All right, so like I said, it's white to play and win from this position. White already has a very good position, but there's a tactical way to immediately win material. All right, let's jump back to the beginning, though. We know from the stats available that the white player was rated above 1700, and the black player, we don't have their rating, so we're not sure. But white did win this game in the end. So this game began e3, e5, c4, knight to f6, knight to c3, knight to c6. So some kind of transposition to an English setup, queen to c2, bishop to c5, covering this d4 square. But at the same time, the bishop is quite vulnerable usually. It's the same thing as in the Sicilian, where if black plays the move e6 in the Sicilian, let me just, instead of randomly talking about it, just put it on the board. Something like this, the bishop is not well placed on this diagonal. It's simply staring at a pawn wall that it cannot break. And in many positions, black will either play with a6, b5 and kick the bishop, or the bishop gets chased around and loses time, or d5 will come with tempo. So it's a very similar thing in this position. Bishop c5 is just going to be not well placed because it's kind of biting on granite, and it's going to get kicked at some point by one of the pawn advances, either here or a3 and then b4. So a3 is what was played in the game. Black played a5 to try to stop b4, and then white continued development. Both sides got castled, so the opening was more or less completed. And now rook d1 gearing up for the d4 push, which is pretty hard to stop. Rook e8 and d4 straight away. Takes, bishop b6. This isn't so unusual to have white with this big central space here and the bishop being on b6 or a7. This happens in a few different reverse Sicilian Englishes, but yeah, white is definitely much better here. Bishop to e3, simply developing, and knight g4. Trying to get this bishop. I think one of the major problems is, first off, this knight was defending the king side. Like, it was on f6, protecting h7, making sure the king was safe. So a move like knight g5 could be interesting here. But also, if white just decides to move this bishop, say to g5, it's a little bit awkward. If you go back, you've walked into a pin, and then knight d5 is going to amp up the pressure, and it's going to be hard to deal with. And otherwise, the queen doesn't have a ton of great squares to go to. For example, if the queen were to move out of the way, this knight's going to get kicked back, and then white's going to take the knight no matter where it goes. And you're going to have a very big problem with king safety here. Queen d2, queen h6 coming in can get very nasty. So knight g5 is a little bit, sorry, knight g4 is a little bit premature. But anyway, white didn't go for any direct stuff on the king side. They just played queen d2, and white basically allowed black to get away with this move in this exchange. And now at least black has pressure against this pawn chain, specifically e3 and also the bishop pair, although this bishop on b6 isn't doing much at the moment. All right, queen f6, knight to d5 is a good move, queen to g6, bishop to d3 chasing the queen, and now after queen e6 we have our key position. So queen e6 is a pretty big mistake, and again it's white to play and win here. So again, if you guys see this, if you see the best continuation, make sure you check out the link in the YouTube description. Head on over to ChessUniversity.com, where you can make a comment with your solution, and if you post that before the solution goes up tomorrow, you can get reward points on your account there. So I hope you guys check that out if it interests you, and in any case, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for watching.